Hello and welcome back to the table. Today we're going to go through an introduction of a new Kickstarter game I recently received, Trick Shot, an ice hockey board game from Wolff Designa. The game by, and I'll probably butcher these names, Nikita Krylov and Artyom Nichipurov. It's a more of a push your luck kind of ice hockey game. It's designed for 2 to 4 players. I'll be playing it solitaire. Just kind of the play like I do, like a lot of solitaire players do, just playing both sides to the best of their ability. So, to start off, when I do the playthrough, I'm probably going to do a full 3 periods, but I'm going to start the first period off in just the basic mode, and in the second period, I think I'll add the advanced rules and what they call line cards. Then maybe the third period throw in an arena card, just for fun. That way, we'll get through 3 periods. We'll get through all the rules, and you can see if this is something you care to do. So, this is what the game looks like. Now, I did buy the through the Kickstarter. I got the mat. Nice. The board itself is also very nice. I'll just throw that out there. But that's what the board looks like. It folds out basically, I think, 8 quadrants, and about the same size as this mat. But the mat will tend to have less glare, and I just like mats better. So this is how the game is set up to start. These are your wingers. This is your center, and these are your 2 defensemen. And then you have obviously a goalie back here. These are called line cards. That's kind of the push your luck design. We have a referee token over here that's keeping track of the time. Penalty benches, scoring table. It's just, if you're familiar with ice hockey, that's what an ice hockey rink looks like. Now, there's some of the rules that of ice hockey that are not incorporated here, for gameplay. I think you don't have face-offs down here like you would if the goalie, say, captures the puck, and but they don't. This isn't set up to do face-offs down here. So every time you have a face-off, reset the board is what they call it, and you go back to the center and do it that way. So that is how you can see the setup here. Each team chooses a side, and then you set it up here. It's kind of a W formation, basically. And those tokens to the side there, those are called the stamina tokens. That's these guys over here. What you do is if you push your luck, you flip them. And then once all 3 of them are flipped, you have no more stamina. Basically, it's if you roll a failure and want to re-roll, you flip those over. So we'll get more into the gameplay here in a little bit. So it's like I say, it's kind of a push your luck to see how many actions you want to do in your turn, how much you think you can get away with, and if you have a scoring opportunity, you want to push it to do that. So it's I've played several games of it just to learn the rules myself, and it's a fun game, especially if you have any inclination towards ice hockey. I was 40 years old when I laced up my first pair of skates and started playing recreational ice hockey. Played it for about 15 years. We had a fire department team. I think we had 1 or 2 police officers also there in Oklahoma City, but Uh, it was fun and pretty much played all year round. You'd finish one 20-week season and or 15 or however long it was, and then you'd wait a little bit and maybe a month, and you'd jump right back in, start a new season. So when I first started, there was only one rink in the whole Oklahoma City area, and by the time I finished, there were three different ones. They built one down. One was out on in northwest Oklahoma City, and they built one in South Oklahoma City, and they built one up in Edmond. So fun game. Fortunately for me, like I say, I was 40 when I first started skating, so I never got real good at skating. I was able to skate forward and backwards a little bit, but trying to handle a puck was not for me. I was I was the defenseman. So fun, but this is a fun game. I've enjoyed the games I played. I hope you enjoyed going through this with me. So let's look at a little bit of what happens when it's your turn. You basically activate a player, and you can select any player except for the one that you previously activated on your right turn right before that. And then you choose an action to perform. You may move, pass, shoot, poke, or hit. Hit is an advanced rule, so we won't see that in the first period. But you can move, pass, shoot, or poke, which is basically jabbing your stick at the opponent and trying to grab the puck from him. And you roll the dice. On your first activation, you have one die, and that's all you roll. And to show you, well, they're there on the screen. So uh, each die, and I got an extra set, so I have a whole handful of them. But the X is a fail. The arrow is a reaction, which we'll get into. Uh, the hockey puck is a bounce. If you're making a pass and you fail, then it could keep on going, bounce off the wall, whatever. And a blank is a success. So each die has two successes, two bounce, one reaction, and a fail. But if you're rolling, let's say you choose to move, and you roll one die, and it comes up anything but an X, then you've succeeded. And even if it comes up an X, you still succeeded in the movement part of it. But you could re-roll it and then maybe continue on. Or if you decide not to, then you've still completed your move. It's just you lose your turn. Your turn ends. Excuse me. You don't actually lose your turn. Your turn would end. So you can, like I say, you can re-roll and then resolve the action. Every time you re-roll to get rid of an X, you re-roll every die. If you have multiple dice, you re-roll every die that is not blank. So even though you may have a fail, a reaction, and a bounce, and then a blank, well, you're going to be re-rolling three dice instead of you don't just re-roll the fail. You re-roll everything that's not blank. So, like I said, let's say we have this guy has the puck over here, and he wants to move. Now he can move up to three. These three guys can move up to three. The defenseman a little slower, they can just move two. So he can move all the way over to here. He can move diagonally or orthogonally. So, but then he would roll a dice. If this was the first activation, he'd just roll one die, and if it's anything but an X, he's succeeded it, and then he can go on to another action. Let's say he wants to push his luck. This team member does, and he wants to move another guy. Say maybe he moves the defenseman over here to maybe block something. So then he would roll two dice. And if either one of those were an X, he could re-roll, flip one of these and re-roll, or he could go with what he's got. And then you could, if you want to push your luck again, each time you take a new activation, you add a die. So the third activation would be 3 dice. That, let's say maybe he wanted to move this guy on up here. So that would be would roll 3 dice. So that's the push your luck part of the game, to see how far you may want to go. So getting back to what we can do. So you can see that these are little cards that they give you. You can choose an action: move, pass, shoot, poke, or hit. Add 1 dice to your dice pool. Like I say, the first activation, you add 1 die to it. Second activation, you add another, so you'd be rolling 2. You resolve the action if you roll 1 or more of the reaction results, which is the arrow, then your opponent gets to make a reaction move. Now, the reaction moves are only 1 space and only orthogonally. So we go back to the mat. If let's say we made, well, we don't have to have the puck necessarily. Let's just say he wants to move up to here too, but he rolls a reaction die. Comes up with one of the blue arrows. So this guy could move over here. Like I say, and that's, your action is only for 1 space and it's only orthogonal, no diagonal reaction moves. I think there are some cards that give you that capability, but so if we go back, if any X results are rolled, that action has failed, and then you check to see if you need to make offside moves, and I'll explain that here in a second. But so you can see that your available actions are move. You can move diagonally or orthogonally up to the number of empty squares. And like I say, there are some cards that actually allow you to move through other players, but in the basic game, it has to be empty. You can pass diagonally or orthogonally. If an X is rolled, you move the puck 1 additional square for every puck. That's where the puck comes in. So if we were, say we were passing from here to here, and it was your turn, you only had to roll, let's say you had to roll 3 dice. And you'll go ahead and make the pass. The pass happens. But if you rolled an X and say two pucks, and you were out of these, you didn't have any rerolls to make, then that puck would keep on going 2 more spaces, and that's where the puck would end up out there all by itself. And then there would be a mad rush to get that puck by the blue team. Going back, you can pass, you can shoot. Again, there's diagonally or orthogonally, and it has to be in such a manner that that the puck can indeed enter the net. So not every angle is that way. Let's see if he. Plus, if the goalie's in the way. So if let's say the puck handler is here and want to take a shot, then you can see that diagonally there is a path. From there, orthogonally, there is an unobstructed path to the back of the net. And you can even, this is the tricky one, this is actually allowed. Now the goalie can come out here. I mean, the goalie normally is going to stay in the crease. What this, the blue area is called the crease. But in this case, if he had a reaction move and this guy had the puck right there, and it looked like maybe he's going to take a shot on his the second activation after that, he might want to move over there just to block that. And then he can move back in. Now the goalie can only move 1 square at a time, even if it's his movement. So he's a little slow. So that is shoot him and go. And if if you have a fail, let's say he was here and he takes a shot and he fails, then you would, if you then you go to the puck thing. If you didn't have any pucks, then it bounces and comes right there. If you had 2 extra pucks, it would bounce and come all the way out here. So on a miss, the first thing you do is get it out of the crease area, and it depends on if you shot from here, it would come in and bounce straight back to there. But if it's a diagonal shot, it comes in and hits and then bounces back out to there. Or if he say shoots there, then it would bounce out. Physics. I mean, that's how it works. So on a shot, anything other than an X is a made shot. If you have pucks and arrows, blanks, all that, even if you have 7 die that you roll, that and none of them have an X, you automatically make the shot. If there's an X and you can't re-roll or choose not to re-roll, then you count the number of pucks, and that's how far it moves. Now, if there are 2 X's, that means the goalie has made a save, and now the goalie is the puck handler. He has the puck. Basically, you would continue on if that was the end of the well, it would be the end of the team of the term. So I've got red shooting on red goal, which obviously wouldn't happen, but anyway, you understand. I think you understand that part of it. What else? You can poke. You have to be orthogonally adjacent, opposing the puck carrier. What that means is if puck handler's here and this person could be in one of the orthogonal spaces and can make a poke attempt. And if you don't have an X, then the blue player would steal the puck away. That's what the poke does. Okay, that's pretty much it for that. There's another set of cards. These are the advanced actions. A clear ice pass, basically anywhere in the neutral zone. And let me bring up, let's see, here's what the board looks like. This is you can see the neutral zone in there between the 2 blue lines where all the players are right now. And then you have, depending on which direction you're going, if the blue, towards the top there, if the blue goalie is in that net, then it is the blue defensive zone and the red offensive zone. So on a clear ice pass, that's saying anywhere in the neutral zone you can make a pass, any number of squares, or adjacent to the blue line, which would mean just across the blue line. It would be similar to in a hockey game, you see the players what they call dumping the puck, and in this one, because it doesn't allow that, but allowing you to basically dump the puck across the blue line is what they're putting in the game. But a lot of times you'll dump the puck and they'll go all the way around the rink behind the goalie. So, but that doesn't happen here. If you make a clear ice pass, you're going to add 2 additional dice to your dice pool. So if you already had 2 in the pool, you'd already had 2 activations, and you want to make a clear ice pass, then you're going to add the 3rd for the 3rd activation plus 2 more. So you're going to re-roll in 5 dice. And then you move the puck 1 additional square for every puck result, even if the pass was successful. Basically, what you're doing, you're passing to a space, not to a player. Okay, on a hit. Again, these are advanced rules that we'll see in the second period. Move a player up to the speed value. Again, forwards and or your wingman and your center are speed 3. Your defensemen are speed 2. Goalie's just a speed 1. And That can be diagonally or orthogonally, and you basically move into the player's square, dislodging that player. And if that player has the puck and you pass, you're successful, then you steal the puck. On this one, if you do roll 1x, though, it results in a penalty, and you can't re-roll penalties. Once you've actually had a penalty, your turn basically ends right there. If you roll 2 or more, then you're gonna have a fight, and that gets into a whole new set of rules. And going back to the poke, you can end up in a fight there if you have 2 X's on the poke. That's a penalty. And if you have 3 X's on a poke, then you got into a fight. Okay, slap shot is another advanced rule. You can shoot at the goal from outside the offensive zone, basically like in the neutral zone, or all the way down in your own defensive zone if you have a clear unobstructed path. And this is another one that you add 2 dice to it, and you can't re-roll. Once you make the shot, that's it. Okay, you can see this other card kind of shows you just player aid cards. Orthogonally or diagonally is moving a player, hitting a player, shooting, slap shots, passing, and clear ice passing. Those are the things you can do diagonally and orthogonally. Orthogonally only, moving the goalie. We can only move orthogonally. All your action moves, you can only poke orthogonally, and you can only check orthogonally. Now, checking, kind of explain that a little bit. Checking is only in regards to the puck carrier. And if an opponent is anywhere orthogonally, that puck player cannot move. The only thing the puck handler can do is pass or shoot. That's it. That puck handler cannot move out of being checked. And again, I think there's some line cards that allow you to do that, but like I say, that's breaking the basic rules. Basically, is what the line cards allow you to do. So if you have any one of those, that guy can only pass or shoot. And I think that's kind of the basics of the game. You see here's the player cards. The wingers have a size 1, a speed 3. Centers are a size 2, speed 3. Defensemen are a size 3, speed 2. And the goalie has no size and is speed 1. And where size comes into play is on your hits. And you can only hit somebody that's the same size, so these 2 guys could hit the 2 centers, or smaller. So obviously the defenseman can hit anybody. The centers can hit other centers and the wingers, but not this center could not hit that defenseman. So that's where the size information comes in. That's where you need that. Here's kind of a look at the dice. See the blank, the reaction, the failure, and the puck. I just call it the puck. What do they call it? I don't know what to call it. I can't remember. So, and basically, when you end your turn, either with an X, a failure, or you just say, okay, I'm done. And if you end your turn and you were successful on your last activation, let's say these were all used up, but you finished all your activations and they were all clean, and or you used these during it, and let's say after your 4th activation that was successful, you did a move and it was successful. You say, okay, now I pass. That's one of the two things you do on every on making a choice is I'm going to activate or I'm going to pass. So you pass, now you do a line change, and that refreshes all of these guys, and they're back. And then you would move the timer down to one, move it down one space. And then the opposing team, the blue team, would start and say, I'm going to activate this guy and do whatever. So that's how the time goes down after each time you end your turn. Basically, the timer's going to go down. It can end on a goal. It doesn't always, because if red scores and comes back and red wins the face-off, then red's turn just continues, basically. I believe that's right. I'll double check. But you do a reset after every goal and every fight, I believe. We'll get more into that. I've got little aids that help me do that. And I think that's kind of the basics of the game, of how it will be played. There is, I'll show this other thing. It does have a handy little thing to keep track of the score. I use this little dice to tell me what period I'm in. And here's just an example. This is one of the cards are red and blue, but they're identical. I mean, there's the same in each one. So like in this one, if the red team performed a hit on an opponent, it would disable whatever line card they had. So again, these line cards, and you can see there's a pretty healthy stack of them. That's just one side. And if the blue was doing it, then they can move two different players on a reaction. So if the red team was doing their activations, every time they rolled a reaction, in other words, every time they rolled one of those, they could move two different players, one space orthogonally. So again, the line cards basically break the rules of the game, but they're a special thing. The other is the arena cards, and they come in more handy, I think, for if you're playing, say, a season or something, or playing, multiple. Basically, these, and of course, this isn't licensed by the NHL, obviously, but they use some of the same teams, and they use some cities that aren't in the NFL. But say in this one, if Nashville is the home team, and what these arena cards do is this, whichever team is the home team, that is the active thing. And it's for both teams. So if you're playing in St. Louis, each action may only be re-rolled once. So again, breaking the rules. So if you were re-rolled one, you re-roll one time. That's it. You don't get two re-rolls. Even if you had all three of your line cards up, you still just, or you're exhausted. If none of them are exhausted, you still only get one re-roll. If you're playing in Nashville, when you're checked in the neutral zone, you may only make a clear ice pass. So in other words, when I showed you that the puck handler had an opponent orthogonally adjacent, and so he couldn't, he can't even shoot, and he can't pass to a teammate. He can only make a clear ice pass. So that really changes the game up. And another thing you do, I don't know, these aren't really a little bit hard to read, but these little things here, those if you're playing the Nashville team against the St. Louis team, no matter where you're playing, The Nashville team gets those 4 cards. That's what the arena cards. So they would get the impenetrable, the aggressive, the hard hitting, and the creative. And St. Louis would get collected, coordinated, defensive, and face-off masters. So it adds, to me, it adds a lot to the game, and really it changes some things up. And we went dead again. I have to remember that I only have 30 minutes on this thing. I'd love to be able to do it differently, but when I actually on this camera, for some reason, when I actually put it on record, it puts that little red dot down there in the lower, and I can't get rid of that. When I did the unboxing video, I noticed it was doing the little squares like a face recognition thing, which totally messed that up. But oh well, not like I'm doing this for a living. And it really didn't mess up the videos terribly. It's just annoying to see it in there. So anyway, like I said, I was saying the line cards, I think add a lot to the game, and change it up, because and you have 4 of them. So basically, and every time you make a line change, you change the line card. So you can't just leave the one line card out and say, all my players are size 3, type of thing. You can't just leave that one out because you have to make line changes, or you're just exhausted. You get no re-rolls, and that's a tough way to go through the game. That's one of the things. Cause say the pushing your luck part of it. I mean, I've actually in some games I've been rolling like 7 or 8 dice, taking a shot because it took me a while to pass and maneuver and move and all this stuff. And finally I get a clear angle on the net and I have to roll 8 dice to take a shot. And you're completely exhausted, type of deal. And then sometimes you get lucky, you roll 5 or 6 dice and none of them are X's. So you finish that action, say, okay, this would be a good time to line change. So, like I said, and they do. The rules do have different ways to do the line cards. You can draft line cards, or you can just randomly deal them out, type of thing. And then you can introduce the arena cards where you have them set, or you can it's your game. You can change it any way you want to. You can play the arena cards and say, I don't want to play those line cards. I want to do the other technique to determine the line cards. So there's not it's not like a lot of optional rules. They do have some of the advanced rules, which we went over. We didn't really go over. There's a tournament play. That's an advanced rule. If you want to play a season, basically, or play every team in the league, so to speak, that could take a while. There are some advanced rules. You can pull the goalie. Which if you've watched hockey, you'll see that some. The team that's behind will pull the goalie and add that extra offensive player. And there's rules in that for pulling the goalie. There's advanced rules for fights, which we'll probably see that in the second or third period. And say again, a fight, any X on a hit or I'm sorry, 2 X's on a hit or 3 X's on a poke, and you're going to have a fight. And basically, both players receive a penalty, then you reset the board. And there's also the offside rule is that is not it's not an advanced rule, but what happens is let's say you have the blue team is making a rush here on trying to score a goal, and let's just for example, let's say he passes and he misses, and it goes out here into the neutral zone. Well, the offside rule is as soon as that puck leaves this offensive zone for blue or defensive zone for red, that leaves your offensive zone, you immediately have to come out because now you're off sides. And these guys come up just to the other side of the blue line. So that way it makes it, and as in regular hockey, you can't cross the line, the blue line, before the puck has crossed the blue line. So you either have to have somebody carrying in the puck, or you have to make one of those clear ice passes, into it, and then you can have, somebody run in there and pick it up. So that's the way that works. The only thing I did not see in the rule book, and so I didn't use it. I may going forward. I don't know, but what they call a two-line pass is this: say you're back here and you just grabbed hold of the puck and you actually had a teammate way up here make that long of a pass. Well, in hockey you can't cross two lines. But again, that's not in the rules. I was a little bit surprised at that, but there is no two-line pass prohibition. So, but I think the purist in me says no, you can't do that. You could pass. You can pass from here to there, or you could pass from there to here, but you can't make that pass. That's too far away from there to here. That is an illegal pass. So that is probably the way I will play it. And they may have left that out because sometimes it's difficult to to get your players in position to even get close to scoring. So I don't know. I may have to post something on BGG or something and see if they can answer that for me. Seems like they've been pretty active on there. I don't spend a lot of time on BGG, but I did when I got this game. I went and looked and see if there was something new that I'd missed. But it seemed like they're pretty good at answering questions. So I think that's going to do it for this introduction. And then coming up, we will have part one. We'll start off with just the blue and the red team doing the face-off. And in the face-off, basically each team rolls 3 dice, and the one with the most pucks and reactions, in other words, the black or the blue, wins the face-off. And if you tie, you just keep rolling. And man, I've had to do that several times. So I appreciate you joining me, and come back soon. We will have a trick shot ice hockey board game, and we will be playing it and showing off this fun game. I don't like obviously if you've watched anything on my channel or seen the list, mainly I'm a World War II guy, but I've always enjoyed hockey and football. I was a football official for 35 years, so high school and college football is kind of my first love. And then I really got interested in ice hockey too. So those are about the only sports I watch. I don't watch professional anything other than ice hockey. And football, I just stick with college and high school ball. Not much on basketball or anything else. So anyway, that's enough rambling. Appreciate you being here, and we hope to see you soon. And we'll be back playing this game. Thanks.